Everybody, I think this is day 8 of my loneliness vlog. I think I'm going to title this video something like are we all neurodivergent, or is ADHD on the rise? Why is ADHD on the rise? Why is neurodivergency on the rise? I will probably look into this into this more scientifically afterwards and make another video on it. But I'm just ruminating, so I'm going to explain what my thoughts are on the topic, or what I was thinking about. And I was thinking that more and more people are becoming ADHD. I feel like more and more people may even be experiencing also loneliness, depression, have the feeling that they are neurodivergent. And I wanted to go through why I think, just based on no science, just based on my internal you know how I internally feel or whatever, why I think this might actually be a thing, or why I think this might be the case. So I think, first of all, yeah, we're disconnected from the way in which we were psychologically, evolutionarily supposed to be, or whatever, right? But what you have is, if you think about something like ADHD or neurodivergence, or many different, you have lots of different names for the same thing. But I made a video on hyperfixations, right? So a lot of what people are talking about when they talk about ADHD is, oh, they're hyperfixated on whatever. They can do whatever when they get a lot of dopamine. They can do this task for 10 hours straight, but they can't pay attention when they're not interested in something. So they can't do the work in school. They can't do the boring stuff. Right? So we talk about the fact that our brains hyperfixate so much, and so on, especially when we talk about ADHD or certain types of neurodivergence, and also we bring things like OCD into it, and so on and so on. And I have to say, this is also an interesting thing, how we use so many different words depending on the situation, but often we're actually trying to frame or talk about something very similar. So I think what is happening is that this is a symptom of depression, at least based on my internal whatever, right? I feel like more and more people are actually depressed or sad, or we have too high sadness hormones or whatever. And so when something good attracts our minds, then we hook on to that, and yes, we can hyperfixate. Is it really hyperfixation, or is it just our brain starving of dopamine or happiness hormones and happiness, whatever? Is our brain just starving of something that we actually like, and then we latch onto it and we call it hyperfixation because it's absolutely no problem for us to do the task that we like. However, when we're doing something that we are not as interested in, try to get more light. I want light, but not too much light. I'm very miserable. Okay, so when we do something that our brains are not as interested in, then we say, oh, we have ADHD, we cannot concentrate on this, we cannot, whatever. And then we say, oh, we must be neurodivergent because our brains are just incapable of doing the regular things. We can't do the regular tasks because we don't have enough dopamine to do those regular tasks. And why is that? Is it so that ADHD and these sort of things are on the rise, and why would that be? Now, logically, I think if you look around at modern society, then you would see, oh, we're exercising less, we're doing less physical work, right? Then we have less social interaction. The goal of everybody's goal is to be independent, to have, like, if you have your own family, then you will have a separate house. We are like moving cross country, or moving hundreds of miles away from our original family or community or whatever, to completely different places in the world. Sometimes we move to China, we move to the Middle East, we move all over the world into new different places where, of course, we're not going to get the same level of social interaction or belonging or whatever. And these are the things that give us dopamine. We get dopamine or happiness hormone. I use the word dopamine a lot, but I don't really just mean dopamine. I mean whatever, the happiness hormones, right? So the happiness hormones supposedly come from things like human connection. Maybe it's not dopamine, but it's oxytocin or whatever. But when I say dopamine, I mean happiness hormones. So happiness hormones come from human connection. They come from exercising. It comes from being in nature. We are less in nature. We are not exercising as much because we don't need to do physical labor. We are not encountering as many people as we would have in the past, and also we sometimes even isolate, like we live on our own, or which is absolutely strange from a historical or evolutionary perspective, to actually live completely on your own. Or we move for a job to some new place where we don't really connect with the community or society. So all these things, I think, adds to the level of depression, or let's say the opposite. What I mean is bad hormones, bad, negative, non-happy hormones. And if I also think about it in terms of my internal brain, or how my brain works in terms of hyperfixation, I hyperfixate in two separate situations. One would be if something attracts my mind that is like something that I consider to be nice. So like I might hyperfixate on shopping or whatever and become a shopaholic because I'm interested in buying wool because I like it, whatever. That's a hyperfixation. You hyperfixate on something that gives you dopamine, something that makes you happy. And then you can concentrate on that for really long periods of time, but nothing else is interesting. Or if something traumatic happens, something negative and traumatic happens, your brain might hyperfixate on that. So we're dealing with the case where we have more negative, we don't have enough happiness hormones. So if we do find something interesting, we will latch onto it, call it a hyperfixation, tell ourselves that we have ADHD because we can't do regular things in life, or that we're neurodivergent and all these other things. Or the situation where something traumatic happens, and I think this is also something that could be on the rise again, because our actual experiences are becoming so limited because we are so distracted by the internet and everything that has been supplied for us to distract us, that our real world experiences have, at least for me, become so limited that when something happens, regardless of what it is, when anything happens, if it happens to be negative, it becomes a traumatic experience. So in a situation, let's say in the past, which our brain is psychologically made for, in the past, if something bad happened, because I would have been interacting every day with people and so many different things, my brain would have filtered that through so many different experiences, and not any one given experience would be as traumatic as, if you understand. Of course, many different things influence it, but in my given situation, I think the way in which we live today and how people isolate, or how I isolate, how I pretty much just live in my room alone without people, and I don't have to talk to people at all for really long or extended periods of time. What happens is that if I do go out and I have a negative experience, to me, that's a big deal. Even if I have a negative experience online, because my experiences are so limited, when I have a negative experience, for me, it's a big deal. My brain will hyperfixate on it, and I will go into rumination, and then then it becomes okay. You have some sort of neurodivergence, ADHD, OCD. I'll call it OCD, or whatever. So you have all these names for all these different things that we're talking about, but are these things really? And also, are these things on the rise? Are these things really happening in isolation, or are these things a symptom of modern changes in society and the fact that we are not connected enough to nature, each other, the things that we're not living a balanced life? So my question is all of this neurodivergence real? Is it on the rise? Is ADHD on the rise? Or is this just a symptom for the fact that people are now, today, living in a way that is totally not psychologically normal or expected? We are not getting enough exercise. We are not getting enough human contact. We are not getting enough of the things that we need in order to have happiness hormones. And we're also not getting enough real life experiences in order for our brain to filter out and not react extremely towards any one given experience. So yeah, these are some of my thoughts today that I was thinking this morning. And well, the point of these vlogs is just to share my thoughts. So that's my blog for today, loneliness thing. Maybe you have ideas on it, maybe not, I don't know. But thanks for listening to me. Thanks for your support. And also, yeah, the point of this vlog is for me to meet people, which I have to say I have been. I'm not a lot or anything, but I feel I have been out of bed every day since I started this vlog. The first person who spoke to me axiom. I feel since I've been blogging, um, I I have met two people, Axiom and Rock, right? And I don't know if I even said the names correctly, but Rock Sulfur, and I do feel better, I guess, than before. So, but I'm like I said, I'm looking to make lifelong friends. I'm looking to meet people or to do something, I don't know, or connect with other people who are also lonely, who also face the same problem. Definitely email me if you want to connect. And yeah, I'm just blogging about the fact that I feel like I live a lonely life, and that I think it affects me mentally, and that I need to get out there more. I don't even know if that's the solution to my problems. Like I said, I actually feel like I face depression or some sort of sadness or whatever, not enough happiness hormones or whatever. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because of loneliness. I don't know if it's because of other reasons. If you think about my life, I have all the things. I don't exercise at all enough. I do not have enough human interaction. I do not get out into nature. I do not have a task for self actualization or so on. I'm not very busy. I don't have a job. Most of my problems are that I don't have a job. So I don't have any of the pillars of happiness hormones. I don't have any of the actual things that I need in order to get enough happiness hormone. Not any. I do have a family. So this is the one thing that I have. I have a family. I have a husband. I have kids. So I have a family, an immediate family. But I also had problems within my family, not with my husband and kids, but with my original family. So I have a lot of things to fix, and yeah, I'm sort of hoping or praying that the internet could be a part of that fix. So I don't know, I'm hoping for a lot of attention on the internet or something that could lead to things like maybe a job, social interaction, whatever. And I feel like if I'm motivated through people, then I will be able to fix the other parts of my life, like get out and do exercise or whatever. Who knows? Maybe not. I have no idea. I'm trying. If you are touched by loneliness, if you are touched by depression, if you are touched by these sort of issues and somehow connect with me and would like to talk to me, leave a comment, subscribe, and all these things. Thanks again for your attention, and have a good day.